Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me. tmosso@thewatchbox.com is my email. It is your concierge for your questions about this or any Watchbox watch. It's also in the description below. Reach out to me. Email tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today, we are discussing a 100-piece platinum limited edition launched in 2016. This is the Lange Sohne Datograph Perpetual Calendar Tourbillon, and it is all of those things plus a moon phase plus a power reserve. Absolutely spectacular, but not oversized in the way you might expect. It's 41.5 millimeters in diameter by 14.9 millimeters thick, lug tip to lug tip, 50.5 millimeters with the traditional 20 millimeter spacing between the lugs. We throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters circumference, and it wears fairly well. You can see as I move further away from the camera, proportionally it looks better and better. I would say you could wear it on a wrist as small as 15 centimeters circumference. It's not overlapping the edge of my wrist, though it does push out fairly broad. It is very heavy and substantial, and not just because it has a platinum case and a solid sterling silver dial. Oh no, there's more. Taking a look at the hardware and the software, we have an anthracite colored leather strap of large rectangular scale with a semi-gloss finish, a lightly contrasting gray stitch. There is some bolstering to give it thickness, a folded edge, and then calfskin on the underside. You can see this is a brand new Lange factory strap, but that unexpected extra weight is a full platinum deployant clasp. This is something that you don't often see on Lange watches, even complications, but on a model like this with a retail price of $350,000 when new, you want that protection against dropping your watch when you take it off or put it on, and you get that here. Some quirks and weirdness with this watch. We've got, of course, Swiss hallmarks and that little B. There's a company called Brogioli in Ticino, which is Italian-speaking Switzerland, that makes these clasps for Lange. So that's why it is a Swiss hallmark B-signed clasp on a German watch. There's more, and we'll talk about it when we get to the case. You can see on the case back, this is lucky number 13 out of 100. And the watch includes more Swiss hallmarking, and this little FT logo, that means FTOR. That is a Swiss case maker that's owned by Richemont that produces some of the cases for a Lange Sohne. So we have a Swiss case and a Swiss buckle on a German watch with hallmarks from two different manufacturers for the buckle and the case. Taking a look at the case, it is very traditional Lange. Satin finished mid-case, but vertical. You can see that there's a little vertical portion of the bezel and then domed curvature, all of high polish. The lugs in Lange tradition are stepped out to give them a little bit of a sculptural form in their own right. They don't blend gently like a Calatrava or a Portugieser. Attention to detail is superb. As you can see, the lugs are polished with a little bit of beveling on their side. The pushers have polished faces and then outer aspects that are satinated. So you can see the same is true of the chronograph pushers. They are satinated outboard and then polished on their sides. We have the Lange name on the crown, and then we have a fascinating quickset mechanism. So let's say this perpetual calendar falls 5 days behind because it stops. You pull the crown out, and using the pusher at 10 o'clock, we're 5 days behind? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Note that the day, the month, everything, the leap year, even the moon phase moves in sync. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you're caught up and everything adjusts in sync. No running for pusher adjusters or looking up what the moon phase is at the moment. It does it for you. It is a surprisingly sporty watch for a dress watch, as we have a flyback chronograph, a tachymeter scale for gauging speed, and remarkably, once again, plenty of lume. Lume at the 4 points, 12, 3, 6, 9, as well as the white gold alpha style hands. The dial is black galvanized sterling silver, and you can see it has great depth with the sub-registers sunken and then this stepped tachymeter scale outboard. So it is sterling silver and then galvanized black. The combination of the black dial and the white metal case makes this watch viable in more casual attire. A silver dial with rose or yellow gold is very formal. Black with a white metal case, however, is intense. It's cool. It works well when you're just chilling. Now, the watch is a compound complication. Obviously, you've got the perpetual calendar with the synchronized adjuster. You've also got the moon phase, which need be adjusted only once every 122 years. The perpetual calendar can deal with leap years and irregular length months, no need to reset. And then we have a power reserve indicator hiding out between 9 and 10 o'clock, manual wind, 50-hour power reserve. We have an AM/PM indicator, 1/2 blue, 1/2 white, that reminds you not to set the watch when it's blue. That is the nighttime. Don't use the quick adjust adjust, or the calendar correctors in the middle of the night, just use the crown to roll the time through midnight, and once you're out of the danger zone, once you see it's white again, that little adjuster, then you can set the calendar. So we have coaxial registers, we have your chronograph minutes, instantaneous jumping, your leap year phase, and your month over near 3 o'clock. We're not quite at 3 o'clock because it's a little bit below the canyon pinions. Then you have the AM, PM, the day, and your constant seconds indicator over at roughly, I guess we'll call it 8:30. Pull the crown out, you have hacking or stop seconds. You can set this watch precisely to a reference time. And of course, Lange moon phase discs are always made of precious metals, so this one is made of white gold. Flip it all over. And by the way, how much do you love the custom font Lange uses for its date discs? And take attention to detail to the max, Lange. Black discs on a black dial. Wasn't everyone do this with their calendars? Flipping it over, we have caliber L9522. Based on the historic Datograph caliber L951, it gets the power reserve upgrade to 50 hours from the original 36. As you can see, it is a very traditional column wheel lateral clutch chronograph. Adjusted in 5 positions, it has 58 synthetic rubies, but then it also has one real diamond, a brilliant cut diamond capstone on the bottom of the tourbillon carriage. The tourbillon is a historic look used by vintage German tourbillon watches, and you can see that it beats away at 18,000 vibrations per hour. It's adjusted in 5 positions, free sprung for durability, and it uses an overcoil. So in any position, this tourbillon will act very evenly with concentric breathing of the hairspring and even timekeeping. So in any position, it's not going to accelerate or decelerate the timekeeping. The column wheel feel is sublime. The pusher almost seems to suck itself in as you press it. And then it has the aesthetically pleasing lateral clutch. Take note, all chronograph components are in steel. The bridges and plates of the movement are German silver or nickel copper zinc alloy that gives them their golden hue. All of this is 30 meters water resistant. We have all of the finishing standards you would expect. Oh, and by the way, remember, I talked about the hacking seconds, but it's easy to overlook that this is hacking seconds with a tourbillon, something you will see on precious few watches made by anyone. But back to the finishing, we have these golden hued German silver bridges. We have the steel components, which are either black polished. You can see everything that's turning black as I tilt the watch is finished off with a diamond paste to give it a mirror smooth, optically flawless quality. And that includes the balance cock, or I should say it is the tourbillon half bridge, because it's not mounting the balance directly. Normally this is where you'd find the freehand engraving on a Lange. Instead, the adjacent structure has that signature freehand engraving. Take note, satination and beveling, mirrored anglage on the steel chronograph components, and then glasuta stripes across the bridges with the same level of mirrored beveling. Take note of the depth of this movement. You can look at it laterally, not just from the top. It has so much depth, it's like a forest of fine finish, so you can really appreciate it from angles that traditionally aren't visually accessible in conventional movements, especially Swiss ones. You'll also appreciate that there's engine turning on the base plate. We've got that mirrored anglage visible from any direction, and not just the black polished screws. We also have fired blue screws. We also have jewels set in golden chaton. Those hold the pivot jewels. This is a nod to the pocket watch era of German watchmaking in the 19th century and early 20th century, when the precision to press a jewel straight into a bridge didn't exist. It would be set in a precision gold chaton, and then the chaton would be fixed to the bridge using the screws. All screws here with chamfered slots and circumference, and you can see the tourbillon carriage is not just historically shaped in a filigree form, but it also features black polish on its tops. We have sharp interior angles beveled inside the tourbillon carriage, but we also have sharp interior angles and exterior points on this chronograph clutch. You can see the piece that's moving in and out. That is the clutch mechanism, and it's fully jeweled, no bushings. A watch that represents the best of everything. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details of the ultimate Grail watch.